Some reacted to Zohran Mamdani's primary win in New York with not just opposition, but I think they've gone a little bit too far in a few cases. And so we're gonna start with her, Elise Stefanik, representative of New York, apparently gonna be running for governor next year, which yes, please do it that year, because it's probably gonna be a tough year for Republicans to do it then. Use Mamdani's big night to describe him as a radical, defund the police, communist, raging anti-Semite, and of course a jihadist. I mean, did I even need to say that? Of course he's a jihadist. I mean, after all, he's Muslim, automatically a jihadist. Is it based on anything other than that? No, of course not. Raging anti-Semite, why? Why? Because he's Muslim. He's Muslim. And also, he's gonna tax the billionaires. You combine those two things, he's definitely an anti-Semite. Now, look, if you wanna say that he's a radical, I think some of his solutions are radical in comparison to other New York politicians. I think radical in a good way, but you can say that. Is he defund the police? Well, he has talked about defund the police in the past. Now, it doesn't mean the ridiculous propagandistic way that the Republicans use that or whatever, but raging anti-Semite and jihadist, you just get those for free in American politics. The guy's a Muslim. You are free to attack him in a way that you would not be free to attack anyone of any other religious identification. You could be pretty rough to atheists, but even there you have to show some respect. Only if you're a Muslim can you nuke someone from orbit purely based on their identity. And it's not just her. Stephen Miller said the commentary about New York City Democrats nominating an anarchist socialist for mayor omits one point: how unchecked migration fundamentally remade the New York City electorate. Democrats change politics by changing voters. That's how you turn a city that defined US dominance into what it is now. I mean, one of the reasons that the result might have gone the way is that Cuomo sucks, man. He really, really sucks, and that matters in elections. But whatever, it's not that. It's just replacement theory. That's what it is. You let in these damn dirty migrants and they just vote for scum. They shouldn't be allowed to vote. He shouldn't even be allowed to run. He's been a citizen. I think they said something like for less than 10 years. I don't even know, and I don't particularly care, but that's what they're saying right now. I just want to be very clear. So I looked into some of this. Stephen Miller's great grandmother arrived in the US. She was Jewish from Russia, 1906. Terrible things were happening. She fled here. And thank God America was here and welcomed her and many other waves of immigrants with open arms. When she showed up here, she didn't even speak English, which now is a thing that makes you the worst sort of person. Back then, I'm assuming he felt differently about it. And when his great-grandmother showed up with many other refugees from Russia, they presumably participated in politics, and some of them became citizens, and they had kids who were, by virtue of birthright citizenship, which didn't used to be challenged back then. Now he's challenging it after his family has already gotten in under it. They become citizens, and they can vote, and they can run for office. And I guess all of that was cool for the Russian Jews or the Italians, eventually for the Irish. There were some tough periods along the way for them too, and all these other waves of immigrants until now. Now, it's a conspiracy theory that they're importing voters. It's not just a continuation of hundreds of years of migration, constantly remaking the mix of our populations and reinvigorating our politics and our culture and our economy. It's not that. No, now it's a conspiracy theory. By the way, and maybe Stephen Miller knows this and is engaged in some sort of dark bargain, a deeply anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, because very rarely does it end with their importing their voters. Often it's the Jews are importing voters to take over our country, and that has led people to commit anti-Semitic terror attacks. But it's convenient, I guess, in this case for Stephen Miller to just casually toss it around. And we'll have others, but I've thrown out two already. Sharon, what do you think?
You see how they do that whenever it's convenient? They can pivot. They're like, Ali. They're just so agile. And it's really, it stinks. It really stinks. And as far as Elise Stefanik, whatever, and pointing out, look, I love diversity. And I love that there could be a New York mayor who is Muslim. But why not? But I don't even want them to talk about that. This is a brilliant guy who is putting forth some energetic ideas. So either all the people who have gotten behind this guy who started out as 0%, right? It was zero, no money, no nothing. He just ran around and hustled, okay? And said, I love everyone. Everybody who supports him is either stupid or you don't have any fresh ideas. And Stephen Miller doesn't have any fresh ideas. And I think he's doing a disservice to people who are of a certain religion, descent, immigrants, all of it. And we got to keep pushing forward. And let me just say one other thing. The candidate, Dami, is supposed to be on with Jen Psaki tonight. The only thing I wish is that they would complete the loop, right? Don't go to Main Street. She's part of what's wrong, as I try to whisper. She's part of what's wrong here. Come here, come on. I know what they're doing. He has to keep running the race. But I want you to come directly to the people and not go to mainstream media to kind of let them vet you and sniff around and really undermine you. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if she does. It's not a guarantee, but it's not impossible that she's gonna try to burn him, because I don't know what she thinks about Cuomo or whatever. But if there's gonna be an overt, maybe a covert thing to try to undermine him so Cuomo can save America or save New York
establishment
as an independent, then we'll see. That said, I'm not gonna down on him for not coming on our show. I didn't even ask him because I didn't think it was likely, because so many prominent progressives had said no. So I've sort of been beaten into surrender. But anyway, we did have Michael Blake on earlier this week, who ran a good race. Let me just throw out a couple more examples of how the opposition, I'll try to be brief, the opposition to Mamdani from the right, at the very least, is just identity politics. You've already seen a lot of it. Laura Loomer says there will be another 9/11 in New York City and Mamdani will be to blame. You know why? Oh, why? Because of because of the free buses, because of the rent stabilization. He's Muslim, that's it. You could just say that. Laura Loomer is totally reputable. She's more reputable on the right than I am on the left. And she can just throw out, hey, look at that Muslim. Look at how Muslim he is. Isn't that bad how he's Muslim? How is this legal for him to be here, let alone run for office, being a Muslim? You could just say that. And she says it again. She really likes this idea. He hasn't even been a US citizen for 10 years. He is literally supported by terrorists. New York City is about to see 9/11 2.0. So first of all, hasn't even been a US citizen for 10 years. Wow, man, it didn't even take him very long of being a US citizen to want to give back and participate in our government. That is not an attack against him, that's a credit to him. He is literally supported by terrorists. Please point it out. I would love to see it if that is the case. And New York City is about to see 9/11 2.0. So why would there be so you're asserting that he's a terrorist. So why would they need to do a 9/11? They already got the terror. And I will remind you, by the way, the last time there was 9/11, we didn't have a Muslim mayor. We had Rudy Giuliani. We had your guy, we had a Republican, a Christian, I think. So what? That didn't stop it. So why all of a sudden with having a Muslim mayor with that guarantee? But again, it doesn't matter. That's the intoxicating thing about 24/7 identity politics. She doesn't have to make a point. She doesn't have to make sense. It's just his identity. Fill in your own reason for hating him. She doesn't have anything better. Charlie Kirk says, 24 years ago, a group of Muslims killed 2,753 people on 9/11. Now a Muslim socialist is on pace to run New York City. Now, see, a person who actually has a brain and was trying to make a point there would perhaps link those two sentences with a reason. Yeah, a group of Muslims did kill people on 9/11. And yes, now it is legal to be a Muslim and to be mayor literally decades later. That's possible. Would you like to explain why that's a bad thing? So he's saying, he doesn't want to specifically say that we should outlaw Muslims being able to hold elected office, but that is the point of his tweet. Again, it's just identity politics. Hate him automatically because of the religion that he was born into. And also try doing that with literally any other religion. You could say perhaps, hey, a couple of years ago, a group of predominantly Christians tried to sack the Capitol and overthrow our government. And now a Christian is on pace to run the United States. And the thing about that is that hypothetically, you think I'm just being snarky, that's at least those two things are connected. It was that guy, the guy who led that group, that's now gonna take over. Why is that not a bad thing? What about all the Christian terrorists that have blown up federal buildings and murdered people outside of abortion clinics and hunted down doctors and shot politicians and hell, even tried to take out Donald Trump himself on a couple times? All those people were Christians. Weirdly enough, that has not led Charlie Kirk to say that maybe we need a moratorium on Christians serving in elected office. It's weird that only when it's a Muslim is it immediately disqualifying. For reasons, again, that he will never define, because there isn't a reason. There's only fear deep in his gut about people that are different from him. What do you think, Sharon?
Well, also, Charlie Kirk and the rest of them aren't even good at the dog whistle. Dog whistle is supposed to be this subtle, aimed, like political message. They're not even subtle, and it doesn't even make sense. And don't forget about the guy in the woods whose brother turned him in. Who was that, Kaczynski? I mean, there's a lot of material here that you can get off of Muslims, okay? Here you have a guy who, again, wants to give back, okay? Not angry, hopeful, full of joy. And this is what we're doing. We're calling out the planes that went into buildings and killed Americans. And America's mayor, was there at the time. Why can't America's mayor be this guy? Why can't he be known as America's mayor? It's New York. It's New York, though. Look at it. New York's not Seinfeld, okay? There's a lot of other people in it, okay, who look different. And I love Seinfeld, but you know what I'm saying?
I do like Seinfeld.
I do like
you're
it.
100% right. Theoretically, there's other parts of New York as well. Okay, well, they're mad. They're gonna be mad. They're only happy when they're mad. So we're gonna leave them to their anger.